Then I will call to order the Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 meeting of the Landmarks Commission. First item on the agenda is the roll call. Ron? Alderman Stoyer?
Yes, sir.
Ian? Susan?
Here.
And David?
Present.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is item C. That's the approval for tonight's agenda. Does anybody have any comments or questions or changes suggested for the agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving tonight's agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is item D, the approval of the minutes from the November 18th, 2020 meeting of the Landmarks Commission. Those meeting minutes are in the packet. Does anybody have any changes, edits, comments on those minutes? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve, David.
Second.
Second by Justin. Any other comments? All in favor of approval of the November 18th minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E, regular business. First item on the agenda is E1, Certificate of Appropriateness 20-33. Consideration with possible action on a design review for a new garage and driveway located at 815 South Jefferson Street. Jason, would you like to walk us through this?
It's pretty straightforward. We have a house in the Astor neighborhood, National Register listed. It's this house. It's never had a garage and they'd like to have one. So I'm all for giving them a garage.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion on this?
Chair, there may be someone wishing to speak on this item. I don't know if you want to poll and see if anybody's interested in speaking.
Is there somebody that wants to come forward? We can open up the floor to public comments if there is. Okay, right now we've got a motion to approve, and I believe that was seconded. Was there any other discussion?
It's a little generic looking, but you really can't see from the street, and there wasn't a garage before, so it isn't like we could say, well, we'd like to see a garage like the old one. So
Looks like Dan has his hand up. Dan, you are unmuted if you'd like to speak.
let's see.
Hi.
Oh, so I'm okay with it.
Hi, my name's Dan Kiernan. I'm a neighbor. I'm here for two reasons. One, I'm a property owner in the 100-foot zone. I live at 816 South Madison. I also own the duplex that's adjacent to the property. Furthermore, since I'm in the district, I know I have, we haven't done projects and I know they're coming up at some point. I'm going to need to be before you. I also want to understand the process, and also, that thing of the comment that was out there that was made, looks pretty generic. I want to understand that too, because I have a garage that's deemed historic, and so I'm playing under very different rules, and I'm generally concerned. And bring me up to speed, please. When you don't have are we trying to improve it? That whole fine line between recreating history and respecting it. Because we get a lot of situations where, very new things are plopped down next to historic houses. So just bring me up to speed on that so I can understand the process for situation and for my own education as I move ahead with projects.
I think one of the things that this commission considers is, does the improvement to the property, is it visible from the street? Does it take away from the existing buildings on a certain parcel? In this instance, the garage is tucked in behind the house, and it's really not, for most purposes, visible from the street view and doesn't take away from the street view. And so that's something that we typically consider when we're looking at either additions or renovations to the back of an existing structure, or in this instance, an addition of an accessory building to the property. Jason, would you want to add to what I've said or comment further?
I haven't taken a look at the house in question. I guess I've looked at the one we had on the agenda. I guess in general, if it's kind of hidden and tucked away, people aren't going to be too picky about it. If it's front and center, then we need to ask whether or not it's going to have an impact on not only that house, but the district as a whole. So we look at the Secretary of the Interior standards, and we're really never out to recreate something or create some false sense of history, but we're trying to make sure it doesn't, overpower the house or the neighborhood or things like that.
A little bit. I want to echo exactly what Paul and Jason just said, with an emphasis that I consider is the historical impact on the property and the structure. So as was pointed out, this is a brand new structure. It's limited impact by limited visibility from the street, but also there's a balance, I think, for practical considerations that these folks need a garage. And it's reasonable to accommodate. I was, and I am compelled to approve this because of the low historical impact.
And just a general question moving ahead, what's the best way to approach for outside advice before presenting? Do I contact Stephanie? Do I contact the chair, Paul Martzke? Just as long as I have you here, I wanted to ask that question too.
I was thinking that we could do a preliminary thing if you'd want to submit photos of the garage that you have now and then what you're thinking about doing. So we could talk about it and make suggestions way before you're going to start on this, that you'd then have enough time.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
You can always submit something to me, and then Jason and I can review it from a staff perspective. If you're ever interested in going before the commission, we do have an entire section on our agenda that's just informational, where people can go before them and just ask questions. So we're basically your dream team for if you're trying to do anything and you want some recommendations. Everyone here has a wealth of knowledge. So you can either just contact the staff directly and we can work with you, or you can go through me to get onto the agenda for an informational item.
Sounds great. That's helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're back to, there is an open motion on the floor to approve this. We were in the discussion. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about for 815 South Jefferson?
No.
Then I would call for a vote on this. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on tonight's agenda is Certificate of Appropriateness 20-34. This is consideration with possible action on a design review for a new sign located at 405 West Walnut Street. Jason, you would like to explain this one to us?
The building in question is the Tarleton Theater in one of the Broadway districts. You see it in the map here. The front of that building kind of looks to the northeast. And here on the side, we're looking away from the district and away from downtown. And it's on this purple side that they'd like to add a sign. This sign. Ideally 6 rows, it says, and they've drawn 3, for example. So it's a big Wheel of Fortune looking Scrabble sign. I have no objections to that. The National Register nomination is very clear about the front facade of this building, but there's no mention of the sides, and any damage that this does to the side, given that it's all been clad in stucco, I'm fairly confident can be patched, repaired, and painted without any visible long-term effects. So recommendation is to approve.
I don't know if it's historic, to cover up that historically accurate purple. I don't know if that's a good idea. That's the original purple paint, right? I'm sorry, I'm just kidding.
Well, purple is always a superior choice, but no, I don't think it's historic in this case.
Do we know what the mechanism is to, or what the intention is with these letters and what's actually happening there?
This is through a grant program that On Broadway had done. Brian Johnson is on the call if you want him to speak to this more directly. But basically, the channel mounted letters get installed, and then it's an ever-changing, like monthly changing message that's not related to the business. So it's shop local or some funny jingle. You know, it's the idea is to be an ever-changing message board. And it's done through an art installation grant, basically. So if you have, I don't know, Brian, if there's anything more to that you wanted to add?
Not digital, though?
No.
Yeah, it's essentially a public art installation, and then it's kind of just the way the city ordinance is written. It really needed to be approved as more of a sign installation, and so that's why we're before you. But the idea is that the pieces are going to be designed like Scrabble pieces, and then these will be tracks that go on the wall, and the pieces slide in and out, so that you can change that message as frequently as you like.
I do have a question for Brian. Is this a commercial sign, or is this something you were creating on your own?
We created it on our own. So the tracks are made out of sheet metal, but the sheet metal would be covered up by the letters themselves. So the sheet metal is just sort of the mechanism that's designed to hold the letters, but the letters are actually stained pieces of wood, of plywood, and the letters are stenciled and homemade.
So my understanding is that the only effect on the stucco would be fixing the tracks, that metal tracks, and any drilling would actually be fairly easily repaired in the future. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that's correct. And the coverage area on this, where the sign's intended to be installed, is only that painted section and the I don't know if that's cinder block or what that is. So we're not intending to go on top of the brick at all.
Are you planning to do any lighting at all, or would this just be visible during daylight hours?
Yeah, no lighting, just what you see in the daylight. If we get another grant that wants to pay for lighting, maybe we'll consider that. But this grant is not sufficient enough to do that.
Sounds fun. I would make a motion to approve.
A second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Can't wait to see the first message. Should be Landmarks Commission.
Yeah, or I love landmarks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Next item on tonight's agenda is Certificate of Appropriateness 20-35. Consideration with possible action on a design review for a parapet cover located at 306 Pine Street. Jason?
Yeah, this particular building owner has been to us before, getting to be kind of a nuisance, I think. But what they're looking to do is there's this parapet wall that separates the Republic Chop House's building from a bunch of architects in a nearby building. You can see that there, and you can see it here because, please note, you can't see it from the street, really. Anyway, this brick wall, it's a very necessary and beautiful wall, and we don't really want anything bad to happen to it as we go forward, but bad things are happening to it. And in order to maintain the structural integrity of the wall, it seems like a good idea to put a coating of some sort on it. And that's what the request here is to do. That particular building, of course, the Republic Chop House 3-story building, was a contributing building until they ripped the facade off here within the last few years. So it's effectively a non-contributing building, even though the Secretary of the Interior hasn't gotten that memo just yet. So the recommendation for Landmark staff here is to approve coating this with a harge coat that will ensure that the wall lasts for a much longer time. Thank you.
I do have a question that I think, Jason, best addressed to you. In the past, there have been requests to paint over bricks, and you folks on the commission that are more familiar with construction and materials pointed out that that was a horrible trend to paint bricks, that it captures moisture resulting in spalling during freezing. So understood. I took a look in the proposal that this is a commercial product that seems to be different than paint, that it doesn't have the complications, the problems that would occur with painting. Is that correct, or could you elaborate on that?
That's my understanding. Now, you know, this could be a different situation if this was still a contributing building and if this was brick that had never been painted like this and it was visible and, you know, a host of other things. I think it would be a bad idea to apply anything to it. But in this particular case, if the owner of the Republic Chop House building was to be believed, the structural integrity of that building in the first place was suspect. They've gone and done a lot of work to it to make it non-contributing anyway. And the less contributing it is, the less interest I really have in doing anything to maintain integrity. So yeah, we're in a different situation.
Well, I see the difference, and that makes sense, but I am concerned about setting the precedent for allowing paint to be covered with a product when, as was clearly explained, something like paint, standard paint, is horribly detrimental to brick. If we do grant this, aren't we setting a precedent for something that we've objected to in the past?
The way I look at this is that we're dealing with a non-contributing building, and our standards are much lower. The product information, as best I can tell, says that it's a vapor permeable, breathable material, so moisture should be able to get through it without getting trapped inside and causing more rapid deterioration of the bricks. If it was a contributing building, you know, I'd be advising you against putting anything on the brick, probably. I don't think we're looking at a precedent-setting decision here, given that it's non-contributing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I think you've got two valid points, that this is non-contributing and that this is a different product than standard paint. So your explanation is compelling, and I would approve this now.
Stephanie or Jason, do we have any knowledge that they've worked with the adjacent property owner on this solution?
I could start. Sorry, Stephanie. I didn't see any information that they had, unless it was kind of tucked in an email. My reading comprehension's a little off sometimes. This was presented to me as though that wall belonged to the corner building, when I don't think that it does. So it's not entirely clear to me. Stephanie?
I'm checking the application now. When it comes to party walls like this, I don't really know how we would go about even establishing whose it is. I think we usually just take it at face value for whoever says it's theirs or whoever's taking ownership of maintaining it. Let me look to see if there's anything on that. This came from Ian's firm.
Well, and the reason I'm asking the question, and it may not fall under the jurisdiction of this commission, but clearly to do this work, you're not doing it without accessing that wall, you know, by the neighboring building's roof, is the way I see that. And
To us from the owner of the corner building.
oh, okay, so then that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, this is not a Republic Chop House request. It's an Ian somebody request. So.
Okay, then that answers my question for me.
Yeah, they have 310 Pine listed as the owner, so as far as
Okay.
I know, the owner has applied for this.
That takes care of all my concerns.
So that if it's Ian, it's, yeah.
Is there any other discussion regarding this? And/or would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this.
I will second it. Any further discussion? Then I would call for a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We're on to item F, which is staff level certificate of appropriateness applications.
We received none from our last meeting.
Next item would be item F2, raise and repair orders and demolitions.
Also received none since our last meeting.
Item F3, staff update.
I have nothing. Jason?
I would just comment to the members of the commission that the city released the meeting 21, assuming everybody got the calendar and has put those on their personal calendars. The other thing I would just add is this would be, boy, unless something drastic happens, our last meeting for 2020. So thank everybody for their work on the commission this year, and look forward to 2021. Next meeting is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. Next scheduled meeting anyways, provided we have some applications to review. And so with that, I would say happy holidays to everybody, and look for a motion to adjourn.
Right as
I'll make a
Ian comes in.
Old acquaintance be forgotten. Oh, sorry. I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does somebody want to let Ian know that we rejected his project? All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good holidays.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Happy holidays.